take pride in the work we do here. When I get a firearm, your imagination is the limit.
Welcome back to Whiskey and Windage, the two-way podcast for the people, by the people. I'm your host, Mike, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Adam and Matt. Boys, how we doing tonight?
Dude, I'm good. I'm excited for this podcast because the guest tonight was one of our second guests we ever had on before we were a real podcast, back when we were doing Instagram Lives, before no one knew who we were. I think 7 people watched that IG Live. I think that's including like family members and our moms, but
and probably his wife.
Yeah, my wife, she would watch.
I'm excited, guys.
Yeah, man, that was a good one, man. He's still not in. He's still loading in. Matt, what's good with you, bro?
Dude, again, I'm excited for the show. Great manufacturer, a guy who's been down since, I guess, before day one. So, someone who's been around for a while, and we appreciate him coming back and joining us. But I did want to go off on a side tangent real quick while we're waiting. It's that time of year. At least when this comes out, we'll be well into into these events. Anybody who's out exercising their right and trying to feed their family, I want to wish you good luck on your hunts out there. Big game, upland game, whatever you like to hunt. Good luck on that. Enjoy it, and bag it, tag it, and bring it home.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome.
We're talking about hunting, right?
Hunting, yes.
Okay.
Swamp donkeys. Hog hunting.
Whatever you can get a tag for, it's all right.
Yeah. But I do want to say also, it is also during that time of year, if the 2A is your thing, and if the 2A awards show the Gundies is your thing, nominations are out. Don't know who it is. We're recorded, probably a month, month and a half before this launches. But if we're there, thanks, Mom. If we're not, whatever. But if your favorite people are there, definitely go vote for them. And if they're not, man, write them in the nominations if it's still open. These guys, you can church it up however you want. You can say that the Gundies are cool. You can say that they're stupid and waste of time. But at the end of the day, the guys that are putting the Gundies on believe that there should be an award show for it. Now, if we were nominated, hypothetically, if we were nominated for Podcast of the Year, do we think we have a fighting shot in hell to beat Sean Ryan? Hold my beer. Hell no. We got no chance in hell. But you know what? It would just be, it's cool just to be mentioned, and I'm not thirsting for that. I'm just saying, hey, that's in general. So, these guys, they like the affirmation. They want to know, hey, are they on the right track, or are they not? So if you're into that, definitely go check it out and vote for them. Adam, you got anything?
Before we get out of here, I think it looks like Luke's about to join. Matt, I love the look tonight. You look quite dapper, and I'm good.
Hell yeah, man. If he's in there, vote for him. If not,
vote for
Caleb. Go Caleb.
Get out of here, boys. We're stopping. You know what time it is? Let's freaking go, dude.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
All right, everybody. We want to welcome to the show Mr. Lunk Hamilton, the owner, the head guy in charge over at Center Mass. How are we doing today, Luke?
Good, man. How are y'all?
Good. Dude, it's actually welcome back, technically. We can talk about that, but it's kind of welcome back.
It is a welcome back.
Down since day one, dude, pretty much. Well,
since
before day one, even. Yeah.
So some people don't know this, but we started out as an Instagram Live, and that's kind of what we did. We had some people on. Luke was our second guest ever on Instagram Live. We had I think 7 people watched it. It was great.
And 7, and they were all our friends.
They were all our friends. My mom watched, yeah.
My wife.
But, man, we appreciate it. You coming back on the show, and we have a lot of great topics today. And, dude, for people that don't know who you are, tell people about who you are and what you do.
I'm a veteran. I was in the Marine Corps, and I served from 2006 to 2010. I was in OAF and OEF. I got out in 2010 and started working with the Department of State in Baghdad doing high threat diplomatic protection. that led to CIA contract, OGA contract out of northern Iraq during all the ISIS stuff. So that was exciting. And then in 2016, I herniated a couple discs in my back and wanted to go back because I love that contract or that job. It was great. It was great people, great dudes. But yeah, I hurt my back and just started working for a gun store. Saw a hole in the market, opened up Center Mass in 2019. And yeah, just been chugging along ever since. I didn't think I would be doing what I'm doing today when I opened at all. There's a lot of, basically like we were saying earlier, when I opened, I had no idea what I was doing, man. I had never run a business. I'm not a college graduate. I just threw myself into it, man. And I think that's, probably a better way to, maybe not better, but it's an efficient way to learn business, man, and to learn, what it takes to operate a business. Because if you stop, your business fails. Like there's no stopping unless you want to fail. So you just gotta stay shifty and stay crafty and follow the market. And the gun industry, like as y'all know, is not a fucking up arrow market. It's a roller coaster ride, especially with the shit we've dealt with the past few years.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's been fun. It's been a challenge, but I love it. I love what I do. So that makes it all right. And the guys I work with, the community I'm around, like-minded individuals like you guys, I'm all about it. And it's really cool. I was telling Adam this earlier that, you guys say welcome back to me, and y'all used to just do Instagram lives, and now y'all just kept going. Put your vision first, and followed one day at a time, and next thing you know, you create your own opportunity, and you're huge. So I like what y'all are doing, so that's why I'm on here. So yeah,
man, we appreciate that. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
When you say you saw a hole in the market, we know this, but for all of the new listeners, what exactly is Center Mass? I guess the 2 or 3 things that you think like, hey, this is our bread and butter. This is what we're known for.
I would say number 1 is probably just our full, rifle builds, and it could be anything. We can do a bolt gun, we can do an AR, we can do pistol builds. So usually, most of what we do is full, whatever platform rifle or pistol builds. And with that, we can make it a one of one, depending on what the person wants, and that's really what I saw when I was working at that gun store. Is a lot of people were wanting something different. They just didn't want a black gun anymore. That phase is over. So everybody wanted something that was theirs and it was personal, and that's what I saw. And luckily, right up the road in 2000, they're still up there. San Antonio Laser Engraving. That's where I got my laser from, and they had a 5-day training course. And then right next door to them was a company called Roman Arms, who's still going strong. They're a Cerkoter, but they taught me a short Cerkote class, and that's all I knew is the laser and the Cerkote. And then I learned quickly how to disassemble and reassemble every guy. I mean, I was pretty familiar because I was in the military, and I've had guns all my life. Basically, carried a gun for my profession until I was 32-ish years old. So I mean, I had knowledge of firearms, but when you have to completely disassemble a firearm, it's a little more steps than you're used to. So
yeah, I still got one. I'm an FFL, and I say I do this for a living, and I got one of my personal ones that's still in a big box.
Yeah, I have a few of those.
I don't know how to put it back together.
Yeah, I have a few of those. Luckily, I have some really good dudes that work for me. Some good gunsmiths, some good armors that work for me, and yeah. So
yeah, I'm gonna have to ask Uncle Google and cousin YouTube how to put this shit together because it's jacked.
Yeah.
So Luke, with Center Mass, I mean, I know you do a lot of customizing, but you do a lot of high-end customizing. I mean, people have seen your work, but I know you have a lot of celebrities you've done stuff for. We don't have to name names, but you've done a lot of work for a lot of high-end profile people, and not just in San Antonio, but it's kind of nationwide for you right now, right?
Yeah. I do have people hitting me up overseas, but we can't really do anything, so sucks. But if they ever come over, then yeah. But yeah, so what I've gotten really into the past probably I don't know, I've always kind of, my passion was for the design and like laser engraving stuff, and even in the coding side, like I still Cerkote some things, and I do probably 90% of the laser engraving and design for stuff that we do, the theme stuff we do, and that's really what I enjoy doing. I like, that I just posted, or I haven't posted yet. The actual photographer just actually finished on Friday taking pictures of that gun I've been posted in my stories with the skulls and the grips, that emissary. Yeah, those, I just love doing stuff like that. I get into it's like a 2 week, sometimes 2 to 1 month long design process. But in that process, whatever it is I'm doing, I put myself in that setting, I guess, of that theme of whatever I'm doing. Whether it's watching shows, movies that will get my brain going. That's what I enjoy doing the most, is the design stuff. And then the laser stuff's just boring. You gotta wait, and then it starts playing out right in front of your eyes, and it starts getting really exciting. And sometimes I'm like, oh man, this isn't gonna look right. And then when it's finished product, it always kind of turns out. There's never been a time where I've finished something and been like, fuck, this can't. I'm not gonna give this back. I'm gonna start over or something. But luckily, it's always just worked out, and I love it. I love the design aspect of it mostly. So.
That's awesome.
I was going to say, it's funny because it's funny how everyone, and everybody's different, but it's funny how everyone's taste changes over time, regardless of whether it's food, cars, clothing, whatever.
Women.
And yeah, guns. I never thought I was going to be the guy that changed. And it was like, hey man, I just need black rifle. I need black pistol. Just, give me a Glock, give me a SIG, give me whatever. And we say it jokingly, but everybody knows that first time you went into a gun store and there's this old dude walking around with a 1911 on his hip, and you're like, who wants that? Like, nobody cares. Like,
I'll take it if it's gold and engraved.
Yeah, you're like, okay, boomer, whatever. Like, you didn't say that back then, but man, you just didn't take that guy serious. You're like, oh, this guy's old and has no clue what's cool.
Yeah.
And then the older I get, I'm like, hey, it doesn't have to be a black rifle. It can be anything. And I dig all the different colors. I dig all the different build outs. And then with pistols, it's like, hey, I like wheel guns. Hey, I like 1911s. Hey, hammer fired, striker fired. I like it all. And I have an appreciation. 15 years ago, you would have never caught me carrying any kind of pistol that had scroll work on it and, that kind of stuff. Mostly because I probably couldn't afford it, because when it was popular back then, there was some dude legit like
hand engraving.
Hand engraving. And while that is a dying art, it's still a super cool talent. Like, now, it's still not cheap, but it's more affordable for sure.
Right.
Yeah, the barrier of entry.
And there's less, I guess, as long as you got it set up right, there's less error or chance for error.
Yeah.
And now I look at it and I'm like, dude, I need to think of it. It's kind of like a sleeve tattoo on your arm. It's like, dude, what do you want to do on your gun, and how do you purvey that to like someone like you and say, hey, dude, here's what I'm thinking. I want this, and this. Try to make it mix. And I'm sure that's got to be fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I look at guns as art almost. Like, I have guns all over my house, but they're like up on the wall. I have one on my desk that's done. I look at it as art, and I do. If you look back through history, guys have been doing artwork on their weapons all the way back from when they're finding pulling stuff out of the dirt from however old it is. Guys have been doing art on their weapons, wherever that comes from. People have been doing it forever. Even armor,
Yeah, armor's like scroll work on swords and like.
I always thought that was so fucking badass, and I was like, man, if I lived back then, I would have the coolest fucking set of armor and fucking like blinged out sword or like engraved out sword or something. But yeah,
awesome.
Well, it's like,
I love that.
It's like man jewelry, It's like, not only is it a nice weapon, a nice set of armor, a nice gun, a nice sword that you can afford and be efficient with, but you can also,
it's a tool.
kind of flex and be like, it's also a piece of art that has way more money than it needs to have into it, but it's beautiful to look at and highly functional.
I always hope that the guns I do, if there's ever an apocalyptic event, that maybe like in 10,000 years or 2,000 years, that my guns will be uncovered out of the dirt by somebody and be like, oh, like just like how we're uncovering fucking swords and armor out of the dirt today,
Yeah.
No,
A lot of
that's
that's
really
kind of
cool.
what drew me to the like AK platform and Soviet guns is like you find a lot of trench art, you find a
Yeah.
lot of like
Trench
parts
art.
that aren't made for a gun to be on a gun. There's a lot of individuals in AKs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
love what you said about art though, because I wanted to mention that because a lot of guys, a lot of these knuckle draggers nowadays, and alpha male, quote unquote, are all about going out there shooting this and that, and like I think art's important, whether it's music, whether it's drawing, and I think this is a way for a lot of people to express that nowadays. And some guys aren't good at expressing forms of art 'cause they don't think it's they look at it as a I don't want to use that L word, but it's just a not masculine trend or not masculine thing, but it's not. I think art's for everyone. I think for us to put into firearms, it just brings the community together even more because now I can bring people from all different backgrounds together. Like, and this is a talking piece. It's not just a firearm; it's a talking piece. And now I can bring someone into the
Exactly.
2A on a different way than maybe the big scary black gun. Oh, wow, what's this?
Exactly. It draws more people in from different, different walks of life as well. And even, I mean, even the guys that, the type of guy you're talking about. I mean, shooting itself is an art form, training, training yourself is an art form. Being deadly is an art form. Being dangerous is an art form. All of it is a form of art. And, the more you do it, the better you get at it, so.
I think it's really cool too. It's one more step up. I mean, now in today's day and age, with technology and social media and the world is at your fingertips, everyone's trying to do something a little different. And referencing back to me saying 20 years ago, a firearm for the most part, I tried to keep everything, but at the same time, like I had no attachment to anything. And, if I needed to make rent or if I needed something to happen, like, whatever, I'll sell this one and buy something else later. And I think now in the phase that I'm in, you can really make it yours. And what's it matter what anybody else thinks? Because this thing's going to be like my property until taking a dirt nap, man, till
Yeah,
I'm gone.
exactly.
Like, this is mine. And then if my kids don't like it, sell that shit. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm gone.
It's a currency as well, yeah. It'll
Yeah.
probably be worth more then.
No, and on top of all that, I'll say Center Mass because you're San Antonio, I'm San Antonio. I've been a customer before I even knew who you were. You knew who I was. I was a
Yeah.
customer of yours, and it's practicality. Like this gun behind me, my 19X. I bought that before Glock made an MOS cut, and I wanted a dot on it. And I couldn't, finding someone to do that I did want to ship it to, and I found you locally. Finding the store is kind of a hunt because it's kind of finding his storefront's kind of interesting, but once you find it, you find the day to go. Honestly, great customer service. I think I got it back in a week and a half, and it was just great price. And honestly, man, at that time, no one had a 19X. I remember I was one of the first people that around here that had one at the range with a 19X with a slide cut with an
Yeah.
RMR on it. And it's like you guys do a lot of practical stuff too, which is kind of nice. And
Yeah. We do a lot of work for all the Castle Hills PD, San Antonio PD, Almides PD. We did all of Almides PD's optic cuts. We did all and pretty much their loadout, their holsters, their lights, their optic cuts, optics. Same with Castle Hills, and a lot of the SAPD guys, a lot of the Bexar County sheriffs, Border Patrol, DEA. I mean, we've done a lot of stuff for everybody.
Right.
But what makes us stand out, I mean, I've seen tons of businesses like mine come and go because they don't have that niche. That you have to find some sort of passion that's not just buying and selling guns. You got to find a passion and put some time into it. And luckily, that's kind of how I just started when I started Center Mass, I didn't care if I was selling any guns. I just wanted to do art. I just wanted to put art on guns, basically. Not necessarily art, but make them sexier. And I didn't really care about buying and selling, and that kind of helped me business wise because it gave me a lot smaller of a market and a lot smaller of a competition. So like shops like mine, there's maybe that can do the capability of my shop. There's probably, I don't know, a handful of shops in the U.S., maybe five to 10 shops max. So right there, even when I first started, I mean, that limits my competition tenfold. I mean, all the gun stores in San Antonio, they're all that type of mom and pop gun store. So I mean, there's no shortage of those, so you have to do something different to stand out. And the only way I've grown is doing stuff that stands out, even stuff that gets the hate. You know, it drives engagement, and you all know how hard it is to drive engagement when you're doing two-way stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and that's kind of was what kept me going. Is large companies, large manufacturers share my stuff, and or just gun pages in general, or even just some art pages have shared my stuff. And that's kind of what allowed me to continue. Like there was times where there was like, there was almost times where I had to not close, but reevaluate. But luckily, yeah, and that was more of, during the pandemic and whatnot. But yeah, there's been some close calls, but I've always, Center Mass has always kind of ran itself. And luckily, I've just never had to downsize, or I've only upsized. So yeah, man, I'm excited where I'm at, and I'm excited at the work I'm doing now. So
But you market it well. So Center Mass, like the IG, like you talked about art, but a lot of your reels you guys push. I know you push personally, using the Joker mask from the Batman movie. Like you've done a really good job of marketing yourself with the art as well, not just on a gun level, but on a film. Let me find a way to draw attention, and that's what you have to do nowadays. Like you have to be almost a full production person, company, entity to do anything, because that's what everyone wants nowadays. That's what gets people's attention on Instagram, and that's what's going to get the likes, the shares, because we're not getting shared you're not getting recommended by Instagram. So
you can't even pay to advertise. So
no.
It's rough out there for the two-way guys, man. It's rough.
I do think that's really cool, Luke. I mean, I would bet that the vast majority of gun guys at some point, at least fantasize about starting an FFL and doing this. And Mike's done that. I've always applauded him. It's like, even as a side thing, like that's a really cool thing. And then to go beyond that, like my struggle's always been like, I don't want to sit on a stool behind a counter and try and flip brand new Glocks and M&P 15s for a 15%
there's no money
profit margin. Yeah, there's no money, there's no fun. A good friend of mine, he was a SOT, but kind of let go of that and was just stuck in the flipping retail guns for MSRP thing. And
you get trapped in that really easy.
Yeah, you get burned out.
And then the market takes a dive, and then you're fucking toast. So
yeah, I was gonna say, Matt, if anybody out there, I want Luke's opinion on this. But with me now, there's a mom and pop gun store on, I don't want to say every corner because that's a lie, but you know where they're at. There's a handful of them in every decent sized city.
Yeah, there's probably 5 within a 10-mile radius of me.
It's like, I won't say which brands, but in reality, like, if you're talking handguns, until we start getting into some really high-end stuff, I mean, $100 is what you're going to make max.
Yeah, mate, that's good.
It's like 15% profit margin. It's not.
Yeah, so you don't make money. If you were going to open an FFL and you really wanted the side hustle and not the headache, like the first thing to do before you spend your money on a brick and mortar, which can sometimes be hard because some distributors won't work with you, dude, gun broker, just get up there and post your stuff and make $50 or $25 when someone buys it, because like you said, sitting there at the counter, you're going to scare yourself out of this community because nobody's going to walk through the door. And then when they do, they're going to pick your gun up, they're going to hold it, they're going to say, oh, this is nice, I'll be back. And then they're going to go down to Academy Sports or whatever's closest and find it for $35 cheaper. And instead of talking to you about it and you just trying to get a sale, they're going to buy it from them and not come back. I mean, it sucks. Yeah. You got to find that niche, like Luke is saying.
Yep.
So it looks like you found it, and killing it, brother. Keep on going.
So my question is a two-way business owner, and not just the gun, but like, what other struggles do you have being from what creditors will work with you to we'll just talk about the actual entrepreneur, the boring stuff. Do you have any issues with that being a two-way gun FFL SOT?
Yeah, so I'm a service disabled veteran. So my business is a SDV OSB, which is service disabled veteran owned small business. I believe that was the right acronym. Fucking took me like a year and a half to remember that one, but
good job, buddy.
I got that, and getting that gives you a little bit of an edge, especially in the contract world, which I tried for like a year, but it's so saturated. The like government contracts, like forget the name of the website now, but it's a government contract website, but it's just so saturated, and most of the people who win those are sister companies to huge manufacturers or producers, and you're competing against them. So it really takes like you really have to find it. You have to bid on so many contracts. You have to put so much time into it with little to no return. So I tried that. Didn't really get anywhere, but what it did do is teach me a lot, and I also met a lot of people. So, in the business world, keeping that Rolodex of people is probably my number one priority, is getting myself out there and just meeting people. That's what I think has helped me the most, and I didn't realize this right when I opened. I didn't have the business, I didn't have the mindset of a businessman. I didn't know what I was really doing. It took me a couple years to realize that, hey, if I put myself out here, I have the capability to do all these things and do them on a bigger scale if I need to. I know all the ins and outs. So now I just need to get myself out there. And that's kind of what I've done the past like 2.5 years, is go to events, travel, go to trade shows, meet people, meet bigger companies. And sometimes it doesn't pay off, and sometimes it does, but you're still meeting people, and you get people's numbers, and you connect with people. And as you guys know today, connecting with somebody's pretty tough, man. When it's hard to meet, people that you can respect and you can work with and you want to work with. Like it's rare for me, at least, to find somebody on the same path and mindset as me. And I would say that's probably number one goal, is to get out and meet people, because the people you meet, you can't do everything alone, and the people you meet, you'll never know where they can help you or when they can help you. But I can't tell you how many times I've met people, forgotten about them, and then sometime later something big happens. I'm like, man, I'm glad I went to that event and met that dude, because I would have missed out on this 20 grand of this contract or whatever it may be. But on the negative side, being 2A, what's rough is I've applied for multiple grants, Simplify Fund, some city grants, some state grants, but I always get denied. And I think the reason for that is because I'm 2A. A couple of the charities I reached out to for grants literally told me, hey, our donors, our people that donate to us aren't, not all of them are 2A friendly. So giving you a grant for I've even tried to change, that's why I use Cinemass Fabrications, not firearms or anything, because I thought it would kind of, then they ask what I do, and then they find out, and then my fucking application gets fucking shredded.
Machining and coatings.
Yeah.
Don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
So it's fucking hard, man. And a lot of startups and businesses get grants or get charitable funds. I haven't gotten anything. I've done everything by myself. Not all by myself. I have great employees. I've had great guys that have just come into my shop, volunteer to work, not even paid, and 2 of those guys are still working for me and making great money now. But the guys that work for me are fucking amazing, and I probably couldn't do it if I know I couldn't do it if I didn't have them, that support. And yeah, just don't try everything alone. Don't try everything by yourself, man.
Heck yeah.
You got people in your life, use them. If you win, they win. That's how I look at it. If my employee helps me win, if I win, he's gonna win bigger than me. That's how I treat my employees. I didn't even pay myself the first 3.5 years of being open. I didn't make one penny. And that was, it's rough, because it was 80, probably about 80 to 90% of my time was going into it. And I wasn't making any money. That's another thing. You have to prepare for not making money. But keeping your business open. My business was fine, but personally, I wasn't making a dime from Center Mass. I also wasn't having to put any more money into it, because it was running itself, which is very nice, and it's a great problem to be busy. I did, put money into some machinery I bought, upgrades and stuff like that. But for the most part, Center Mass has run itself, and I've been blessed to have that. But yeah, it allowed me to work up to a certain I don't know, level in the, you know, for me to expand, like I was saying earlier, like going out and meeting people, me being out of my shop, my workflow slows down, right? So you always have to balance that, putting yourself out there and then, you know, putting your head down and going to work. It's a fine line, but it can be done. So
I love that. I think you nailed it though, and we've experienced it ourselves in this realm. It being a podcast is, like you said, going out and networking.
Yeah,
And these guys will attest to
means
this.
everything.
Two of our biggest shows we went to so far were huge for us. Just meeting people in person, making the handshakes. We were at the GOA Goals event, and it was just great to meet certain creators that we've met online or we haven't met yet. And that's what it takes in this, because like you said, like you want to meet people face to face and build the connections. Like Instagram is great, but we're already suppressed on that as it is, and it takes that effort. If you want to make it in the 2A, my personal opinion is you need to go out to shows. You need to go out to, you name it. I'm not going to name a bunch of shows right now, but go out there, support people, support this, what we're doing.
Correct. And that, I promise you, that'll give you the biggest strides in business is, you know, taking the flight, making the drive, going to an event. It'll make it, even if it doesn't feel like it right away, it will make your business thrive in the future if you just put yourself out there and, you know, talk to people, tell people what you're doing. You'll click with individuals. You won't click with some individuals, obviously, but getting yourself out there is, I think, by far the most important thing when you're in a small business, is put yourself out there, put yourself in front of people. You know, face to face is huge these days because it's so rare now. Everybody, you know, just kind of, you know, works from home or doesn't want to, you know, make the drive or make the trip. And then when you do, it just means a little something more than, you know, the next guy. So,
Well, that and also when you're fighting in the social media realm, you get, in some cases, depending on who you're trying to contact, you get one shot.
yeah,
If they're not following you, you got one shot. And then when you send that, not that you have to sit down and really scout this out, but in reality, you should, because you need to figure out what are my greatest odds of this person even seeing this message, because they're probably getting 1,000 of them. So when's the best time to send it? How do I know they saw it? And you can see when it's seen, but like it's all a gamble. So like you said, getting in front of someone and saying, hey, here's who I am, here's what I do, here's why I'd like to work with you, and you know, nothing can replace that.
I mean, you're going to win or lose. I've shit the bed on some people in person, but yeah, we've made some great connections as well. So that's a big story, the John Lovell story. That it comes on the podcast soon, or I think it did already. But yeah,
He shit the bed.
I shit the bed in John Lovell. Yeah, I had 30 seconds and I failed in John Lovell, so it was fun. But Luke, I mean, I also want to talk about you as a shooter, because you are of course an artist, a fabricator, a business owner, but you are a shooter. You are quite well versed in long distance shooting, if I'm not mistaken. You know a thing or two. You have some time behind a rifle and a scope.
But I do want to ask, because you're a custom builder, you can build these custom bolt guns based off of I don't know how else to say this. I guess the average distance of engagement in your experience. I guess that's the easiest way to put it. What is your optimum? Like, if you could say, okay, here's what I want to do for that. What is your optimum caliber? And do you have to have, of course, 50 or 338 is easy, but I mean, like, let's just say, do you have to have a 22-inch barrel? Do you need a 26-inch barrel? Like, what talk about that?
So I like to, so what I learned as a sniper really helps me build rifles, because I know especially I do a lot of rifle builds for guys that backpack hunt. So I know it's comfortable, because I spent a lot of my life carrying a gun around and also carrying one on my back, how to carry it. You know, I've also learned that one of the biggest things is ounces equal pounds and pounds equal pain. So the lighter it can be, but still be a very functional rifle is key, is goal for me. My favorite caliber to shoot, and it's probably because it's what I was trained on, is 308. It's a fun round. It's a fun round. You have to. It's ballistically not the greatest, obviously. There's 6.5 now, 338, like you said. The 50 cal, I mean,
cheat
fucking
code.
I fucking hate that thing. But I had to carry it around Afghanistan. That's why I fucking hate it. But the times we had to use it, it came in use. Yeah, it came in handy.
Right.
But
Sure.
yeah, fuck that thing. 308s, it's just a fun round, and what it does for you too, especially if you're kind of new and you want to start shooting long range, it really will train you, you know, fundamentals. It'll teach you ballistics. It'll teach you, you know, internal ballistics, external ballistics. It'll really make you a great shooter when you change, like go to like a 6.5 to say, and you're like, wow, this bullet shoots straight. My 308 is, you know, 10-mile-per-hour wind at 500 yards. You're a little off. But yeah, ounces equal pounds, pounds equal pain. So I build a lot of my rifles. Like we do a lot of barrel fluting now, which is kind of new for us. But we have like 30 barrel fluting packages we offer. I built myself an M40A3, just basically what I carry in the Marine Corps, except the Marine Corps barrel was 24 inches. My barrel on my personal one's 20 inches because you don't really need that. You don't really need that extra length. I still can shoot 1,000 yards just like I did with my issued one. But yeah, and then back then when I was carrying those things around and using those things, and what's available now is amazing compared to what we had back then. So like building a rifle now, you can make it so you can build a fucking great rifle, and a rifle that's not, you know, 32 pounds, and one that can, you know, folding buttstock. We didn't have those. Anything I can fold, I fold. So I put a folder on everything. If I build a bolt gun, that's one thing I don't. My M40 obviously doesn't fold because it has the Macmillan stock on it. I just had to build a replica just to have it. But if I was to build myself a 308 today, which I probably will do soon, I'll build myself another one. I'll probably do an aluminum chassis, a nice big stainless steel 20-inch bull barrel, flute it, shave some weight there, and then like an MDT chassis with folding stock, 20-inch barrel all day. Those 308's so fun to shoot, man. It was a great round.
So if you're building out a rifle, what's your opinion right now on a bolt gun? Does all the money, or a big portion of the money, should it go into the rifle, or should you just get a decent rifle, or should it go into the scope, or vice versa? What's your opinion on glass?
Barrel and bolt is what you should spend your money on. You should get a matching barrel and bolt set from wherever it may be, but you shouldn't. I mean, it's not like it's forbidden, but you know, keeping that integral match of whatever bolt and barrel you're using is crucial in my opinion. And really, if I'm going to build a rifle, I'm going to spend the majority of my money on the barrel and action. Glass, I mean, there's so much out there these days that really, depending on your level of training and whatnot, I mean, you don't need much. I mean, our Schmid benders in the Marine Corps, they're nice scopes and they're very durable, but they're nothing special. They're 3 to 12 power mil dot scopes. They're nothing crazy, really quick adjustments, but very durable. And that's because I fell on my rifle multiple times, ruck flopped with it. It always held at zero, never had to worry about it losing at zero. We abuse the shit out of them. I mean, you walking through the mountains in Afghanistan at night, you're going to be eating shit more than you think. So the amount of times we banged those things up and they still worked perfectly, that really gave me confidence in that scope. That's why I have one. And they're just, once you learn it, man, I feel like it's the quickest thing ever. Like once you learn mills and, you know, holds and, you know, your dope, it's almost just like, I still remember all my come-ups. I never had to, and I have the same scope on my gun, so all my come-ups are the come-ups I learned in the Marine Corps. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Mike kind of ruined me on bolt guns because I visited him. He got me into some bolt gun shooting.
Man.
Mike has Mike got into 8.6 blackout, built a nice little.
They're not great for long range, but they're fun, man.
I'll tell you what,
They're
though.
fun.
I mean, well, long range is debatable. It's not long range, but within 500 yards, which isn't long range, I get it. But it's a fun gun. But you also had the Night Force scope on there, so I kind of got into this. Like my first bolt gun that I really started messing with was Mike's Night Force scope, 8.6 blackout, and I'm falling in love with this thing. And now
how far have y'all stretched that out? I'm kind of curious. I've done a couple 8.6 builds in my shop, but I haven't shot one. We test fired one, but we didn't, you know, take it out any further than 100.
Well, like I zero everything that I'm shooting at for the ammo.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm zeroed at subs. I mean, at 400 yards, there's a 48-inch holder.
What about wind? Does the wind affect it quite a bit too? I mean, is it a big?
Man, so
You can see the bullet moving in the air.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's 308 too.
at 400 yards, if it was dead still, nothing moving, you can actually, at 400 yards, you can see the spin drift as it goes and then buries right.
There's a video on Instagram, I think.
That's called vapor trail.
Yeah,
You can see
it spins so fast.
The best way to see vapor trail is to be the spotter position and just be set up right behind the shooter, and you'll see vapor. And you can literally see the bullet, the ballistics path of the bullet through the air, and it's like
it's crazy.
You see the bullet like go. It's kind of mind-boggling because you shoot, and you're like, the bullet's going that high up in the air and going that far down. Like you're arcing at 308 at 1,000 yards. You're arcing the motherfucker. Like,
Well,
it's crazy. It really is wild. When I learned that, when I first saw vapor, I was like, that bullet just came like from out of picture, like into the.
oh yeah,
Like that was crazy. Like then you're like, oh, like this is like it's a whole, ballistics is wild, dude. Ballistics
is.
crazy. And
It is.
and learning with 308 really makes you, you really have to just build brilliance in the basics. And the best way to build brilliance in the basics, in my opinion, and it's how I learned, is use iron sights. Shoot iron sights at 300 yards or 500 yards, and just watch it. Just any movement is crucial. Everything has to be almost perfect. When you're shooting 500 yards, like 5.56, like 10-inch plate, everything has to be perfect. So if you can learn the basics, trigger control, sight picture, sight alignment, grip, stance, or whatever, prone position, learning how to shoot iron sights will make scope shooting and optic shooting, red dot shooting, so much easier for you. It's almost like, because when I went through boot camp, all of our shit was iron sights. We qualified with an M16, iron sights, 500 yards, and it was challenging. And I came in, I had experience with guns and rifles. I grew up kind of shooting, but that was a whole nother level. That was challenge. That was definitely. But what that did is it built my brilliance in the basics. And if you can hone in on those. And on the basics, then you will become. Using a scope is almost like a cheat code. Using a red dot is almost like a cheat code. So every time when I put optics on my guns now, it's like, wow, this is simple, because I'm used to having to make sure the front sight post is right in the center of the peep sight. Like, just even pistol shooting, shoot iron sights first, and then when you throw a red dot on, you're like, holy shit, this is a cheat code. It makes life way easier. And that's if you're just starting out shooting, I would highly recommend to use iron sights, at least until you get good at them, and then put an optic, and it will make you so much better, and you'll become so much faster, and it makes life easier if you learn.
My Marines, I love my Marines. Here's why I say that: because I'm Army, and I went through basic with M16. Just like you did. But the difference is, this is where I have to give to the Marines, they are far better riflemen. They go through much more training, because you talked about 500 with irons. I don't think I could see 500 with irons. I'll be honest.
You barely can.
In the Army, it's so in basic training, it's 300 meters. That's the furthest shot you take with irons, but you do have to qualify. We're at 300
didn't you
meters.
go through basic when you were 42? Weren't you like old as hell?
I was like 27, okay? I was older, though. But I can tell you that we did it 300
20
meters.
years ago.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, baby, old baby. Come on. That's right. But I'll say that 500 yards with irons, I commend you. I don't think I could see 500 yards with irons.
That's why it makes putting a scope on, you're like, oh my God, I never have to do that again. I mean, you can, but it really, because when you're looking through a peep sight, when you're looking through M16 iron sights at 500 yards at a 10-inch dot, you're covering it. So you have to just. Your breathing has to be on. Your trigger control has to be on. Your reset has to be on. Like, everything has to be perfect. And then when you get that optic, you're like, oh, it doesn't really have to be perfect. I can just put the dot and squeeze the trigger right when the dot's over it. You don't have to worry about it as much, but you still have that knowledge of those basics ingrained in you, because you know how difficult it is to put a bullet on target at 500 yards with no optic.
How many hours of dime drills did you do as a private?
Of what drills?
Dime drills.
Dime?
Yeah, did you guys put the dime on the front sight and had to squeeze the trigger?
Oh no, we just did snapping in. We snapped
Snapping in.
Marines snap in like motherfucking.
Love it.
It's going out of
So
style.
I have to ask because we actually have had more Marines on this show than anything else, and
here it comes.
You are one of, I would say, 15 Marines that's been on. So kudos,
A
we love
lot.
our Marines. What is your favorite flavor of crayon?
I would probably say purple.
Purple.
Oh, yeah.
I love
Purple.
Hell yeah.
Purple's consistent. I think Clint Morgan was orange. I want to say Kyle Wade was purple too, though. So I
Purple's
love it.
pretty good.
Yeah, I love it. I love Marines, man. Someone has to go in there and get shot first. I'm a medic, so I love you guys.
Window lickers, baby.
I love it. I love my Marines. But
Marine Corps is
so-
great, man. The Marine Corps is crazy. The craziest group of humans I've ever been a part of.
I'll tell you, man. When I was overseas and we had to work with the Marine Corps, I loved you guys, man. It was great having, because y'all were crazy, but there was just something about when shit needed to get done, was ready to go. Y'all were ready to go. So I
Yeah.
loved working with the Marine Corps. We joke around, and y'all make fun of us, and vice versa. But it was actually great working with the Marines the most. The Air Force, I mean, but Marines all day long. But I'll say this. So there's a lot of alpha males that are on Instagram. We see them. They're all, I was this guy in the military, and I'm going to talk shit. I don't care. And because I was this, or I have a tab or this, I'm the expert. And it's like, there's so many of those nowadays. Like, it just seems like we're so saturated on Instagram. Everyone's an expert shooter nowadays. And it's like, what's your take on that? Because sometimes I get so tired of it. And I respect anyone that has a tab or whatever, cool, or you did this. But it seems like, from what I can see on Instagram, everyone's a master shooter, and we should go train with all these people. What's your take on that?
Man, I like to be the quietest guy in the room. I like to, I'm always a student. I don't really care what, like, I know what I've done in my past. I know what I'm capable of, but I still am always a student, and I'm more of I'll listen more than I'll talk. I'm a firm believer in being the quietest one in the room, just because when you speak, it means more. And being the observer, it just allows you to, it allows you to make your next move better than that guy. Just because you're being the observer, you learn more. You learn more about people, listening to people. You can learn how you can connect with that person by listening to them. And then when you talk, I won't speak unless my words will be listened to, and they will it's worthy of whatever we're talking about. Like, I'm not gonna try to say anything unless I can provide a gain from it, right?
Substance.
And I'm just substance, exactly. And so many guys will just talk, and I get nothing from it. And there's a lot of that, like you said. A lot of guys just talk, and you'll find out those guys pretty quickly, just by interacting with them. You'll find out if they're just talkers, or they really capable of doing everything they say they do. But being the quietest one in the room, I think, is a big deal. It prepares you better. It makes you the observer, and being the observer, you can tactfully employ yourself where you need to be, or whatever conversation it is, or whatever interaction it is. Being the observer, you're ahead of that guy. I'm not a big talker. If people want to talk to me, I'll talk your ear off. But I'm more of a listener, and I believe in always being a student, regardless of your caliber or what you've gone through. You can learn something from everybody. And that's what I've learned as well. Now, obviously, there's guys that you won't even click or mesh with, and there's idiots out everywhere. But I give everybody a chance. I try to find out who that person is, and if we mesh, we mesh. If not, no skin off my back. But yeah, man, always a student, and that's kind of what sniper school taught you too. Like, they really pushed it in your head that you're just a grunt. We're just grunts. We work for the grunts, the fucking infantry marine. We're his employer. So we never put ourselves above anybody. We were there for them. And I just believe always a student. I mean, I learned more from the infantry unit that I worked with, and you know, working for the infantry unit, you really see what you know, what it comes down to, what war is. Those guys have the biggest balls of all. Those door kickers, man. Those privates, those lance corporals that are fucking 20 years old, man. And yeah, man. I kind of just, if guys are like that, I just put it past me. I'll listen. And you can kind of find out, you can kind of judge fairly quickly on if someone's full of shit or not, right? Just by listening to someone talk. So you can kind of gauge if you even want to interact with that person or not, you know? But if he's an asshole, but he's knowledgeable, yeah, I'll listen to him. I don't care, you know? But yeah, man, always a student, like I said, and that's kind of how I've treated everything I do, whatever training I go to. I'm the gray man. I don't say anything unless I need to. And you learn more that way, being the observer. I'll put it at that.
An ego will trip you up, but humble never stumbles, baby.
Correct. Yeah. No, egoless. Yeah.
Did you look that up today, Matt? Is that like on your calendar? That's awesome. I've never heard you say that before, Matt.
Part of Matt's rap, man. He's going to come out with 16 bars one day, and that's going to be part of it.
It could happen.
Yeah, shed your egos, man. I mean, they're not necessary. You know, be a fucking authentic human. That's good enough. You don't need you don't have to carry a chip on your shoulder because you did something someone else doesn't. Like, yeah, no big deal.
We try and embrace the D-lister for sure. Like, I'm a nobody. Like, I can shoot a little bit, but
I mean,
I think have a tip for you if you're really novice. But
I think it's easier that way.
Yeah,
just like Luke's saying, though, it's easy that way. I mean, if I come in here and I tell all you guys that I'm the biggest swinging dick in the room.
He's not. I've seen it. It's tiny.
Well, yeah. But
it was cold that day.
Yeah, people are going to be like, okay, let's see what you got.
Yeah. You also highlight yourself being the talker as well.
You're going to be picked apart, and people are going to look like you got a measuring tape. But you come in that way, and it's like, okay, you know, the quiet guys and the middle of the road guys, like the guys that barely say anything are the ones that don't say anything at all. Those are the guys you got to watch out for.
Yeah.
They're usually the most opinionated, and they're just trying to make sure, like, hey, if I open my mouth, one of two things is going to happen. Either I'm going to end up, you know, proving this person wrong and we're going to have a confrontation, or, you know, it's just going to go back and forth, and it's, you know, I'll just reserve my right to hold my tongue. And it's a tough thing to be the bigger guy, as everyone always says, and just kind of walk away or say nothing. But no, you're right. I mean, it's the loud guys are usually trying to, you know,
they're projecting, man.
They're projecting. They're trying to make up for something else, or one of their other shortcomings.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Luke, I want to talk about this a little bit, and this is not too AA, but it kind of is in my opinion. Before Matt wraps up with his master. We ask everyone a special question we didn't tell you about, which we're going to come. But I want to talk about this because you and I are very similar in this, and I'm a believer that you are the weapon, right? Taking care of you are the warrior, and and Matt's on this trade now too. Mike, we're going to get you there, but taking like the nutrition, what you put in your body, what you do daily, like, and I know you're very similar carnivore diet ish, like I am, how you train. It's about like I want to keep myself in top shape, not just look good in the gram. That's one reason, I'll admit that. But also I want to be a 40-year-old guy that is fit, that can fight, that can be a warrior, that can go out there and do things still. Because I hate this excuse. Well, I'm in my 40s now. I can't do that. That I can have the dad bod. I don't like that, man. I want to be a warrior when I'm 70.
Yeah, man. Yeah, health is wealth, dude. I wasn't always on that train. I've always been semi-healthy, but I used to eat like garbage. You know, I went down that rabbit hole of what we're putting in our bodies. Probably like right when I stopped contracting, like 8 years ago or so, right around 30. But yeah, health is everything. I put my health above everything other than my wife. I put my health above everything. And the reason is because I know how much better I feel when I'm not putting poison in my body. Because our food system is so fucked up, and I'm so glad it's coming. I mean, it's been known, but not to the extent to the masses like it's getting to now. But yeah, our food system is completely corrupt. I eat food that's gonna do what's best for my body. Like I don't eat anything in my body that's gonna have a net negative. And I look at eating as just an energy source. Like, what's the best energy I can put in my body to keep me on the levels I need to be at? Because I quit my 9 to 5 to work 24/7 is what I like to say. When you work for yourself, it's fucking nonstop. I eat 2 meals. I don't eat lunch. I work through it. But the way I eat, I have consistent energy all day, every day. And like you said, being mobile is so important. Great, you can stand there and shoot a gun, but if you're not mobile or if you're not capable, then that means nothing. Because the second you need to become capable, or you're the sitting there and shooting doesn't mean anything anymore, man. Being a capable body is priority one. Like, you have to be capable, you have to be functional. And I don't lift heavy weights, I don't do anything crazy. I just keep my body in his best shape and his best functionality as I can. And my body's beat the shit. Like, I have 2 herniations in my lower back, I have 5 deteriorating discs in my neck, I have shoulder issue, I have ankle issues. Like, my body is not great, but the way I live, it makes it look like I train, 1,000 hours a week. But in reality, I'm just eating consistently, moving consistently, and having a routine. And that is really all it is. And my diet is so fucking boring and so simple. And it's easy. It's so easy. It's so much easier than, going to eat out or, having to go somewhere to eat. I'll go out and eat, but I usually don't eat. If I go out and eat, it's depending on where it is. I'll maybe get just some sort of like meat and cheese, or just something just standard where I know that there's the least amount of like poison in it, basically, because you go to the store, man, 90% of the shit on the shelves has something in it that's net negative for your health. So I look at labels, but really I just eat meat and vegetables and rice and potatoes, man. That's it. Oh, also a lot of eggs.
So,
a lot of eggs,
do you do zero? Are you zero alcohol?
No, not zero alcohol, but I don't drink too much. Like, if I do drink, it's maybe 1 or 2 drinks, and it's maybe once a week.
Right. And that's what I'm saying, moderation. So I love that, man. I had to hit on that because you and I are very similar in a lot of what we do, and I love that because I get made fun of sometimes from people about.
If you can figure out what your body functions on the best, and you can stay consistent, you'll feel so much better. I used to feel like shit and not know why. I used to have joint pain more than that I do now, and I'm almost 40 now. I'm 38, but I haven't felt this good since I joined the Marine Corps, man. Because the Marine Corps beat me up, contracting beat me up. And I didn't realize how much pain I was in and dealing with until like I realized it. I was like, holy fuck, I gotta change something. And that's kind of just what led me down. Hey, what you eat is everything. What you are, what you eat. What you eat is everything. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. What you eat is exactly what you're gonna put out. Is what I mean. Like,
that makes sense.
It's everything, man. Diet is everything.
Love it, Matt. I think we're about that time. About that time,
baby. So
I can't
Luke,
wait to hear these.
we have a bit of a tradition established here now on Whiskey and Windage. So there's not really a whole lot of rules to this. The price doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be something that you have now or even have experience with. NFA doesn't matter. Like, just whatever you want. But
Ammo doesn't matter.
Ammo doesn't matter. The cost of a weapon or ammunition does not matter. But you get 5 guns to take you the rest of your life. What 5 guns are you taking?
Probably the ones right there. I would take my CZ Bren 2. Okay. I would take my 8-inch 300 Blackout, which the CZ Bren is 5.56. I would take my 300 Blackout 8-inch collapsible stock. I would take my Glock 17. I would take my 308, and I would take my CMMG 9mm Banshee.
Hell yeah.
So the title of this podcast is Luke Hates Shotguns.
No shotgun. No shotgun. I don't even own a shotgun. I don't think I've ever owned a shotgun.
Well, everyone was when we do 5 because you're going to leave something with 5. You have to leave something out. Shotguns is one of the big ones that gets left out.
It's either shotguns or long range. Somebody usually leaves that out.
And I always give everybody hate for. I'm like, you hate AKs, and they're like, I don't hate them. But yeah, you're the first one where like you hate shotguns. You're like, meh, no shotguns.
I do have a 7.62 by 39, but it's not an AK. But I do have a AR that shoots 7.62 by 39, just in case the commies come over.
It happens.
Oh, so it's accurate.
Yeah.
Matt's not smiling.
I'm smiling. It's all right.
Luke, man, we appreciate you coming on the show. But before we get out of here, Luke, tell people where they can find yourself personally, Center Mass, everything you're about.
Yeah, Center Mass is just centermass.com, and that's SINNER, not Center Mass, but Center Mass. It's like kind of where sinners go to group and gather and sacrifice goats on weapons. No, I'm just kidding. And I also have another company called Nectar of the Gods, which is a tallow company, and it's my passion, and that's why I started it, because tallow is the best fuel source, I believe, on the planet, put in our bodies. It gives me 100% focus all day. I don't have to stop and eat. I fuel my body on tallow. I cook tallow. I cook everything in tallow, basically. Vegetables, potatoes, rice, eggs, steak. Everything's cooked in tallow. I have a tallow company called Nectar of the Gods. You can go to NOTG and nectarofthegods.shop. We'll deliver nationwide. 100% grass-fed tallow, and we render it with black lava salt, which black lava salt has charcoal in it. It's a natural detoxifier for your system. But you can cook everything with it. It's great for searing, frying, baking, braising, whatever you want. Get it in your bodies. We need it. Seed oils. Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah, if you're cooking with seed oil, you're wrong. Go in your pantry. I'm telling you for real. Go in your kitchen. If you have a seed oil, just throw it away.
Olive oil is okay, but anything else, trash. Avocado oil, trash. Canola oil, trash. Soybean oil, trash. All of it's trash.
What do you think about coconut oil?
Coconut oil is fine, but I get...
that's usually what I use a lot, but I'm going to go to tallow. I'm actually going to go order some of yours, and I'm going to go tallow.
Yeah, just come by the shop, man. I'll just give you some.
Perfect. Ooh.
Oh, he said...
I'll lather you up, dude. Also, tallow is so fucking good for your skin. It's the closest thing. So tallow, before we end this, and let me give you a couple facts about tallow. Tallow has choline in it, and choline basically is the membrane that's like embodies all your skin stuff. So when you put it on your skin, it's almost like putting a layer of skin on. So if you have ailments, eczema, acne, burns, scrapes, it's super healing. It's anti-aging. My wife puts it on her face every night. I put it on my face. That's why I look 20, not 40. But it's super good. We have a skin balm and we have a cooking tallow. We're soon to have a sunscreen as well, all natural, edible, no fucking bullshit in it that'll affect you, only in a positive way. So get you some tallow and get you some guns, baby.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Luke, all I heard was I will visit your shop. You will lube me up with tallow. It'll be a great time. I love it.
Yeah, I might come out with a lube called Primal Lubes for you, man, and just give you your own label there.
All the ditty.
Well, Luke, man, we appreciate your time today. Thank you for coming on. I'm excited. I'm sure we'll all meet up. SHOT Show? You going to SHOT Show this year?
I'm going to SHOT Show, yeah.
All right, man. We'll see you there. Luke, we appreciate you. If that's all, if you have nothing else, man, I think we're good. All right, guys. Once again, I want to thank everyone for watching till the end. Luke, thank you for coming on the show once again. Great conversation like always. Luke's a good dude. 2A, just patriot, not to mention small business owner, doing his thing. And
veteran.
Guys, veteran. Guys, what do you got for me?
I know what tallow is now.
You know what tallow is. That's
Heck yeah, Mikey knows what tallow is.
Yeah.
Matt, what you got for us before we get out of here?
It was a great talk. It's really cool to see, a combat veteran served his country, come out. And like you said, he didn't have a clear vision of exactly what his dream was, but, come out, not only be a productive member of society, but also be an entrepreneur, like building a completely new business that also employs other people. So like war veterans are out there killing it too. Not every one of them is damaged goods, and warms my heart. It's good to see.
Awesome. Well, guys, if that's all we got for today, once again, thank you for watching to the end. Make sure you are subscribed. Leave a comment, notification bells, all that good jazz. We appreciate it all. It goes a long way. And guys, like I always say, stay dangerous, carry a weapon. We'll talk to you soon.